Brian Hildebrand, RxMuscle.com, 2013 Houston Pro Show in Houston, Texas. Aaron Garza with Protein Cookie Company
and Pure Line Nutrition.
Pure Line. You got your Pro Hormone Company.
And we're trying our best, Brian. We're doing everything we can. We got our hands in everything.
and you competed. Last time you competed was 2004.
Hani got me ready for the 2004 Nationals, and I got second place. Missed turning pro by a point. Haven't been on stage since. I decided to retire, hang it up. But I've been working on the business, so that's good.
That's good. Well, of course. Got a happy wife.
Absolutely.
Happy life. Exactly. Trust me, I'm learning that one.
Yeah, happy life, happy life.
What I want to talk about tonight, pro figure, I think Heather Dees taken for the Olympia just a couple of weeks ago was a heavy favorite coming in here. And I think we can agree maybe she got out-conditioned, especially from the back, by Kamala Rodriguez, our winner tonight.
You know, being from Texas, you know, and seeing all the athletes, first of all, this was an awesome show. They had a lot of good athletes, and some of the competition up there was amazing, but yeah, Kamala looked amazing. I mean, when she came up, it was just polished. Presentation from back to front, when she turned around. And I even think her skin tone, her color, everything just had an element of champion on there. She looked good. She looked really good.
And I felt the same thing about Heather Dees, and she has that very polished, she owns the stage when she walks, she's very in control. She's sexy, but she's also conservative. Yeah. She's not putting off that weird vibe that some girls do.
Exactly. You know, I think now, especially with the upper level girls, they're getting so good that it's almost a presentation factor. Right. There's a lot of that involved, and some of these girls just have a way of presenting themselves that just gives them such a outstanding quality. And Kamala did it tonight. I mean, it's amazing.
And Krista Dunn, who took third, I think presents that as well. It's that the nuance of what you do on stage to get the judges and the crowd behind you. Right. Without going over the top.
Exactly. You know, I tell you what, the top three girls, they belong there. The judging was right on target, and tonight Kamala just looked a little bit better. You know, that was the only thing. But
now,
great.
Bikini, we saw Lacey DeLuca come out on top. She was just at Olympia, took ninth just a few weeks ago. Looking to go forward to the Arnold with a win here. I think it's pretty solid chance. She's qualified for the Olympia. Tana Eubanks, who just did a world tour practically, back in town, local girl, fans loved her. Yeah. What was your impression with that one too?
You know, I'll tell you what, with DeLuca, you know, they say a lot in bodybuilding, you know this, that shows are won from behind. But I'll tell you what, with this bikini competition, the show was won from behind, because when she turned around, I mean, it was just a presentation. She was tight, her glutes looked good, and I really think that's what won, because from the front, first and second looked pretty close, but it was that rear presentation that looked amazing. I mean, she really had it tight.
And it was kind of interesting. I thought Tana presented kind of a smoother look, not maybe quite as hard or conditioned, but they rewarded it with a runner-up spot.
Well, and you know, that's the thing with bikini. You know, you just don't know where the judges are going to go with it from show to show. I think we've seen some consistency this year, but I'll tell you what, man, she looked amazing. Lacey looked really, really good, and she had just the right amount of conditioning, not too much, not too hard, and her symmetry flowed real well. I thought she had a really nice package. It was a complete package.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the wheelchair division, we love seeing these guys, and the crowd really gets behind them. If you've never been to a bodybuilding show and you've never seen wheelchair, you gotta see these guys. The fans love them because they empathize. They don't sympathize. They empathize. They get it, and they see the hard work that these guys have to go through. But I think more important, they realize the challenges that they have to go through to get to where they look. Harold Kelly wins tonight. Nick Scott takes second. And in the finals, what I thought was interesting is they went toe-to-toe. One would win one pose, one would win the next pose. They went back and forth, talking with the judges afterwards. They're like, it was an awesome battle. We loved it. The fans loved it too.
You know, I'll tell you something about wheelchair bodybuilding. I think this summarizes it very well. They asked, Bob Cicherillo said, guys, who do you think your winner is? And a lady behind me said, they all are. And I mean, really, just to show people that you can do that, it's just amazing. Their bodies look phenomenal. The winner, Kelly, I mean, his physique on top. I mean, just his chest, his arms. Those are pros. They're pro caliber physiques. There's nothing different between the guys that are standing on stage at any pro show, except these guys are in wheelchairs. From the waist up, amazing. So yeah, they looked great. I really like, is it Nick the Beast?
Nick the Beast Scott.
He's out this wheelchair, and it's got lights on the bottom, and it's just phenomenal, man. It's really cool.
And the spinner wheels.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, Brian's right there. You've got to come see these guys. I mean, they're amazing. Really gives a testament to what bodybuilding can be about, helping people.
And these are two guys with completely different backgrounds. Harold was a former bodybuilder. He was a big guy, and he got injured and wound up in a chair, where Nick was injured at 15 or 16 years old and turned into a big, fat 300-pound kid when he finally decided to make a change in his life. And so you have two different kind of guys with two different perspectives, and they come toe-to-toe and really battled out a really great show tonight.
I never knew that, but it's interesting, and it just goes to show what the sport's about. It's about people changing, people getting in better shape, and overcoming, like you said, the odds and any obstacles in their life and being better. I mean, it's just, again, I've been to a lot of shows. You've been to a lot of shows. We've gone to the Olympia, the Arnold, all this stuff, and truly something that gets people up and gets them on their feet and just makes them realize how powerful it is to seeing these guys in wheelchairs competing at an elite level.
And to bring it in perspective, it's Harold. They've had this show here 3 times, and Harold's won all 3 times. So our hats off to Harold Kelly for his win tonight in pro wheelchair. Overall, I mean, we had over 500 NPC competitors, and I'm going to take this away, and I'm going to say that Texas, having traveled around and having been all over the country, Texas brings some of the most heart-wrenching athletes that fans really get behind. I saw a guy without a foot. Of course, we have
a guy without an arm.
Yeah, a guy without an arm, and I've interviewed him, and I've drawn a blank to his name.
Amazing.
We had the kid with cerebral palsy that came out, and just the crowd went ballistic. They went nuts because they get it. They can connect and they get it, and they want to applaud these people and make sure they understand that they're not just special people, they're fantastic athletes.
I'm from Texas. I've lived in Texas all my life. You live in Lubbock. I went to school in Lubbock, and
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Bodybuilding has grown in this state exponentially. My wife and I did the Texas back in the early 2000s, and what it's become now with over 500 people at the Houston Pro, I mean, it's just unreal to see all these athletes. Another thing is the caliber of athlete has just gotten so much better. If you really ever have a chance to come out to this show, this is the best. I mean, I've seen some guys, the middleweight class in the open and the light heavyweight, that was easily a national level class. Those guys look that good. And the super heavyweights, they all look great.
And we're just a few weeks away from nationals, so I think we saw a lot of guys coming in, getting on stage, getting their feet wet before they head out to nationals. And you're talking about Texas, we got sitting behind you about 50 feet is Dave Gooden. We have Bob Johnson, we have Brian Dobson, we have Lee Thompson, we have Prince Harrison. We have a lot of great promoters who are deeply embedded in and the fan support. More importantly, they sold this thing out a couple weeks ago, and the fan support is tremendous.
It's amazing. Texas bodybuilding is something special. One of the guys I helped, Jeremy Spear, he actually promotes the Corpus show. Bernadette's an IFBB pro, Bernadette Galvan, and she does the Laredo show, now the Corpus show with him. So, I mean, the fan support here in Texas, it's here. Bodybuilding is really growing. I think that's why you see so many shows coming to this state. I mean, we've got a lot of support.
And they're always packed.
Packed to the rafters. Absolutely.
Good. Well, that wraps up Houston this weekend. 2013 Houston Pro in Houston, Texas. Thanks to Lee Thompson for having us out. Thanks to Aaron Garza and the Protein Cookie Company and the wonderful people at Pure Line. And we appreciate everybody in making all of this happen, bringing it to you. I'm Brian Hildebrand for Aaron Garza, rxmuscle.com.